What is culture?
What do you think it is?
Could it be how people dress, how they behave?
Close. Those are some of the visible symptoms.
So you mean there's more to culture than what you can see?
That's right.
So culture is a collection of underlying traits that shape a company.
Things like values, assumptions, beliefs, attitudes, and feelings.
Then it really has a lot more to do with the employees than the company, right?
Employees make the culture.
And employees are happy working in a culture in which they can thrive.
And by thriving, they strengthen the culture.
What if an employee doesn't fit into their company's culture?
It sucks.
But I'll bet people can overcome the differences.
That's what makes diversity.
Does that mean that there are many different kinds of office culture?
There are thousands.
How could we possibly categorize them all?
There are ways.
Could we talk about how much people collaborate, how control is delegated?
What if we look at the company's environment?
So things like flexibility and whether it focuses internally or externally.
You're so smart.
For instance, with a stable environment, a company doesn't need to change as rapidly, while a flexible one must adapt to altering circumstances.
And a company's strategic focus determines if it's internal or external.
You can almost make a chart with these dimensions.
You can make a chart.
What's an example of an adaptable culture then?
Well, Career Management Center has an adaptable culture.
Oh, I know them. They help SFU students with their future career paths, right?
They're very helpful.
So, as an externally looking and flexible culture, they're able to quickly react to opportunities and actively create change in their environment.
True entrepreneurs, why do you think they chose to be adaptable?
I suppose students are a diverse bunch who have varied needs that have to be met. For example, Beatty School of Business students are less sure of their career than Siegel Business School students, meaning that they'll need more generalized help picking their career path.
You got it.
When dealing closely with a varied client base, a company needs to be very adaptable.
That's probably why they have an adaptable culture.
Now, how about a mission-based culture?
Are you acquainted with Delta Controls Incorporated?
Why, yes. Aren't they one of the largest manufacturers of building automation systems in Canada?
They even did the heating for most of SFU.
So they focus on stability more than CMC does.
Delta's strong culture is what differentiates it from its competitors.
Right. Delta's partners find it important to know exactly what they're dealing with. By maintaining a stable culture, they're able to build lasting relationships built on trust and understanding.
Very good for business.
Delta is also in the interesting position of being a larger company, but still privately owned.
How does that play into their culture?
This makes them moderately risk-averse, as they're too large to experiment with questionable ideas like a startup is, but don't need to cater to investors by dramatically shaking up the marketplace.
Clearly, a company that doesn't need much risk.
Then what's a bureaucratic culture?
Think of a building like this.
Oh, okay. So like an old school type of organization.
I guess you can put it that way.
How about TD Canada Trust then? Don't they implement some elements of that kind of culture?
What elements?
For one, they have designated departments and people who have specific responsibilities and authorities.
And an organization that size.
Must need some level of consistency.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's huge.
But what do you mean by just some elements of a bureaucratic culture?
Well, it has a strong internal focus on teamwork and leadership to support consistency for a stable environment, but at the same time, TD encourages personal involvement.
For all of their employees?
Yeah, they always have these different events at their branches called Customer Connection Days. It's kind of cool. And they get to wear jeans.
Sounds like a cool place to work.
For sure. I've even heard that their employees are always rewarded for their contributions, big or small.
That must affect the ethical practices in the organization then.
Do you mean in a good way or a bad way?
What do you think?
If I were working for any organization and was recognized for my efforts, I think I would appreciate it, and probably do things in the best interest of the organization. I think it would always be better to do the right thing. Making ethical choices will benefit everyone in the long run.
Created using Powtoon.